Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with, yes, Hearts of Iron for the Great War. That's the First World War. Russia. Well, just to let you know what's going on, the Finland series, things got updated. I had saved the older version of Black Ice, but I'm going to have to go on a little bit of work, and we're playing live, and it was going to take too long. So expect probably more Finland back next week if that's a series you want to keep watching. But we're going to also do the Great War. I've been wanting to play the Great War. Was planning on playing the Great War after we got done with the last, the current sort of Finland Black Ice game, and Azads wants Russia to be played. I wanted to play something other than German Empire, because we did that last time. So we are still in we're getting to because it is. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, we are one day as of recording this. You'll be seeing this later. One day from the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. Remember, World War I ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. 11/11/11. That's when the World War I ends. Sort of a famous. I'm not good at remembering dates, but that one does sort of stick. 11/11/11. At least that's when the initial ceasefire is set to go into effect. If you've watched All's Quiet on the Western Front, you see the hero get shot right at about that time at the end of the war. So yeah, then of course they have the armistice. And then eventually the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, sure, IKB. Thanks for showing up. You're just leaving because it's no longer Finland. I know the truth. But have a good time anyways. It'll be midnight here. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll get there. But still, this is, the 100th anniversary, more or less, of World War I, and that is important. I don't know, and I know talking to the chat as well as talking to you later, this is a traumatic time in history. In 1815, we have two things happening. The end of the Napoleonic Wars. That Napoleon had been exiled to Elba, comes back. France has been in a bit chaos. Had the king restored. He wasn't a great king. He wasn't an evil man or anything like that, but just wasn't an overly effective leader. And there's still a lot of tensions between royalists, between republicans, and imperialists, those that would support Bonapartists. So, so you have Bourbonists, Bonapartists, and republicans in France. And things aren't going so well. So Napoleon shows back up, and quickly France falls to him, basically. The old Bonapartists come out and come around him. And so and this immediately triggers a war with just about everybody. And so they, of course, fight the Battle of Waterloo. It's a 4-day battle with the Wavell or whatever, and Langley and that. Well, I have been briefly in your country a few times. I'd like to visit some more. World War I sites would be cool. What I did visit, mostly I've driven through your country a couple times, of Belgium. I did stop at the Waterloo battlefield, the exhibit and whatnot there once. But yeah, I've never actually spent a night in Belgium. But I do want to visit someday a bit more, Floor. So, you have the the last big battle of Waterloo. Napoleon surrenders himself somewhere over here to the Billy Ruffin, the Bellefontaine, French, or not French, British ship of the line, and that ends the Napoleonic era. But while that's going on, while Napoleon is coming back into power in France briefly for the 100 Days, is coming back into power. I know why is Gamer talking about Napoleon when we're doing World War One. It's very important because that's ending. But while that's going on, you have in Vienna. Where's Vienna? Is this Vienna? In Vienna, the concert of Vienna going on, and that isn't a musical performance. It is a it's a reordering of Europe. It's sort of like, though the French weren't really much of a participant in it. I guess it's sort of like, because the Germans weren't much of a participant in the Treaty of Versailles negotiations. They just sort of showed up and had to sign on the dotted line. Metternich is reordering Europe in the post-Napoleonic world. And he sets this up. And in many ways, this largely ushers in roughly 100 years of peace. Yes, you have the Franco-Prussian War. Yes, you have the Austro-Prussian War. Yes, you have the unification wars in Italy. But even the Franco-Prussian War, the sort of the dreadful, most killing part is just the siege of Paris. Europe is largely at peace for 100 years. And the order and balance power, oh, and yes, you have, you know, the collapsing elements of the Ottoman Empire, and yeah, you have the British and the French fighting the Russians in Crimea. Sure, you have some of these sort of periphery things, but you don't have things like the 7 Years' War, the American War of Independence, which does, on a European scale, get to be pretty big. You don't have the great, you know, the French Revolutions and the Napoleonic Wars. So you have this mostly monarchies in Europe set up. Some of the monarchies, including the German monarchy, has a lot of democratic representation within it. France, yeah, it's a bit chaotic. It's a monarchy, it's a republic, it's an empire, it's a monarchy again. It's going back and forth. I can't keep track. All their governmental shifts. But Europe is largely stable. Okay, now, Austria is fairly weak at this time. It's become Austro-Hungary, and it wants to expand. But also, we have chaos in the retreating Ottoman empires. And we still have the chaos left over from the retreating Ottoman empires to this day. You don't have clear boundaries between ethnic groups. And I know we have many European viewers here. You're all excited about the EU and how that's going to save everything. Well, you think it is, and to me, when you have ethnically diverse people being ruled by different ethnicities than things, you have problems. This is why we're having problems in America. It's not race, it's ethnic. It's cultural based. It really isn't, is your skin black or white? I know they want to make it out as such. It's really, if you go to the South, black culture and white culture are different. And so this is why there's conflicts. Now, that, you know, white culture and black culture, and there's maybe more similarities than there's differences, and I hear you, Flora, between the white culture and black culture. And I'm not an expert on the various cultures in the South. I'm not from it, but I've watched some TV. I've visited it there. They're different. I live in a truly multicultural environment here in greater LA. I live in LA County. I just don't want to get too specific, but in which you have very different cultures between white areas and I don't even like using these terms, but white areas, black areas, Asian areas, and there are problems and things go differently, and you get the sense that we can talk about some of the stuff that fairly well here. You have a lot of small business oriented Asians, and of different Asian cultures too, but they are small business oriented, so they own a lot of the shops and own a lot of the small businesses, the small restaurants, because they pool their money, they buy them, and they do that, and they mostly hire their own family members or their extended family members, and so you've got a different racial group, which is very apparent, but also a different ethnic group owning the businesses in the neighborhoods in which there's lots either Hispanics or blacks or mixed, and so there's tensions going on. And it really isn't to do with your skin color. It is to do with the different cultures. Because I've known black people, a few of them, that have been raised in white families. So they have a culture very similar to mine, or that have been raised in black families but are sort of, shall we say, upper middle class. So they speak very, very similar to I do. And so they're of a very similar culture. Then I can go to other parts of my same city and find black people who don't speak like I do, okay? And so I have less culturally less culturally attuned to these other people. We have a different culture. It's more similar probably than me and Azad's culture of India. So it's not maybe huge, great differences, but there are differences. So that is the real stress in America, isn't race. Race is apparent and you see it. But if you go into most, at least in Southern California, most major businesses, and you find, white collar workers, if you know what I mean, office workers, they are wearing, it doesn't matter your skin color. They do the job. It's good. You get along with everybody, whatever your skin color is. Now, where you find the stresses is between those people and the janitorial class, which is often Hispanic in my area. They don't necessarily speak much English. So that's where we find the real conflicts in my multicultural world. Well, to get back to this, you have this sort of idea here that you don't have clear, bright boundaries between cultures because the Ottoman Empire didn't care about that, and so people sort of intermixed and whatnot. And so as the Ottoman Empire is retreating, you'll get one ethnic group, whether it's Serbs or Greeks or Bulgars, claiming a certain territorial boundary, but there are Greeks or Serbs living inside of the Bulgar territory, or Croats and Bosnians and whatever living inside of Serbian territory. So you've got this powder keg of a conflict. See, trust me, I was getting to here and talking about the modern day world. This is what's going on. Now, I've met a bunch of people from Yugoslavia, and I'm using that term, in my lifetime. I can't tell, and these are Americans, and some of them I was meeting, I didn't know well, but I was meeting, during the breakup of Yugoslavia. And I'm not even sure, because they're Americans, how aware of whether they were Croat or Serb or Bosnian or Montenegrin or what we call Macedonian today, or whatever. I don't know what their specific ethnic group within Yugoslavia is or was, but these are American people of that region. And so I can't physically, there's no like, oh, blonde people are Croats and dark-haired people are Serbs. There's not a clear visual racial divide here that I can at least detect within it. But there is conflict to the level of we saw during the breakup of Yugoslavia. You know, not just ethnic cleansing of saying all of you type people get out. No, they were killing them off. And yeah, well, you got compatibilities between cultures. You're absolutely right. And see, and again, back to Azad's, one of my teachers in high school was an Indian, born, raised, lived in India, you know, and at some point comes to America. And so he speaks English with a somewhat of a British accent, not what I would call an Indian accent. It's sort of an Anglo-American accent. It was a mix of Anglo and a mix of American accent. And so he was from that sort of educated whatever background and wanted to get out of India and live in America. So, you know, he had a certain amount of cultural similarities to me being an Anglo-American, but he obviously comes from India. So yeah, it's cultural has to do with it. So, but there are problems, and so these problems are going on. Austria-Hungary is definitely trying to pick up. Okay, Azad, yeah, I haven't heard how you speak English, and so, and I do know that there is a lot of American, shall we say, influence through our media into India, as well as the old British influence for English, as opposed to, and I'm not even going to try it, though I had a friend who could do the different regions. He was an American, but who could, at least it sounded to me, being an outsider, do the different regional accents of Indian speaking English, and seemed to do it well. But that's sort of besides this point. You definitely have the Austro-Hungarian Empire trying to grow. And there's multiple reasons. Partially, I will say, it goes back to the Habsburgs themselves. Okay, this guy, Franz Joseph Hans Habsburg. They believe in a unified world empire. They believe that when they just basically sort of controlled Vienna. What's the AEIO or whatever is their motto. That's still sort of mysterious, that there's several different meanings of. Ah, interesting. Okay, so you don't deal with that. So so the Habsburgs want to have a unified world, definitely a unified Europe, and they've been pushing since their beginning of this. Oh, there's a very good documentary series. Oh, I have trouble pronouncing his last name. Very good British historian, Seaberg or something like that. But I'm butchering it. Sorry. He's done a very good documentary on his history of the Habsburg family, and of course, at one point they own the Spanish Empire as well as sort of the Holy Roman Empire, or they're the Holy Roman Emperor, as well as other territories outside of Spain, outside of the Holy Roman Empire, which includes territories like in the Netherlands. And so they're trying for this unified viewpoint. And of course, they have setbacks. They lose Spain to the Bourbons. They ultimately lose the Netherlands, parts to the Netherlands, partly to the French, and then later to the British as their Belgian colony, as Belgium was basically set up by the British. And so they have this fundamental core of their belief system as the emperor, the imperial family does. So they want to expand it, but their long-term view is like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this, that eventually we will unify the world. Now, I had a little bit of correspondence in the olden days before email, literally correspondence with Otto von Habsburg many years ago. He is now dead, but and he was at the time in the European Parliament at the time. Yeah, it was, there wasn't an EU yet as we know it today, but there was the I don't know. Sorry, I forget exactly what it was going on back then. But this was back in the very late 80s or the very early 90s. That's how long ago this was. And so he was a member there, and and it was sort of regarding some other stuff that I was corresponding as part of something with, but from that, as well as other things, he was very much of a universalist, very much wanted to break down national boundaries. And so he saw his participation in the growing EU at the time. Maybe it was, but yeah, it was after the fall of the, Berlin Wall, but I'm trying to remember exactly when this was. But he very much still had this sort of universalist viewpoint. And so at that time, it had changed, the family's goals had changed from trying to rule it through an Austro-Hungarian empire, but trying to, through these mechanisms, create a unified system. So this is an ideology that they have. And that's part of it. That's very much part of it. I think that's lost on a lot of people, including lost on a lot of Austrians, lost on a lot of Hungarians, because, post World War I, Hungary becomes, an independent kingdom that sort of wants Otto back, but Otto wouldn't, I don't think, turn down the crown of Hungary, but he doesn't really want to be the king of Hungarians. He wants to be king of the world, as it were, and not necessarily dictator of the world. So yeah, now we're going to be playing, of course, as Russia here. Well, so I know this is a long time and a bad start to this thing, but I sort of got on this topic. So they're pushing into these territories, but while doing that, Serbia sends in a hit squad to kill the Austrian crown prince, and that kicks off a major war. And that's what causes this war. I totally blame the Serbians. Okay, Arno's back. Okay, so we're still at peace here. I know this is a long starting tirade, but okay, so let's look at our technology capabilities. They have changed this since I was last here. Improved hand tools, production efficiency. Okay, vest pocket camera, which reconnaissance company. Factory output, okay, heavy industry. Medicine, construction. Well, we need these. At least I think we do. Lewis gun, but these are all 1916. Okay, and we don't really want to push that far ahead. So for artillery, 1914. So let's do divisional artillery. I think that'll be good. Now, we need to build some factories. Let's build back here and out at Tula Arsenal. Let's build up here. Hopefully we can hold those. Okay, it's all that's really effective to work now, but let's add 2 more, just so if we're forgetting to do something. Our current production is all taken up. We have more naval, so we're going to concentrate it here. Get these going. Now, oh, we have a lot of political power. We're going to stay away from those. Political power gain. We're going to do silent workhorse. Okay, yeah, because I'm a historical type player, I'm looking to see if there's other sort of political focus trees here. Diplomatic, reform, political effort. Okay, so parliamentary immunity, reinforce. Okay, so after January, so we can't really do, and these are exclusive. Yeah, AZAD should be European domination. Well, what I'm looking for is survival on 2 fronts. And anything beyond that is golden. Survival on the front of we want to not be defeated by Germany or Austria, either one. And we don't want to be taken over by the Reds. I'm guessing that there is a possibility of a communist revolt pushed on by the Germans. So that is what I'm looking at doing. Invest in the West. Ooh, that's a lot of Kharkov, Kalis. Where is that city? Kharkov. What is, no, couldn't quite see it. I'm just wondering how far west is it? That's Minsk. That may be a good thing to do. We'll get a lot of coal. And what are our resources needed? Are these different than standard? Oh, so we have coal and wood as well as some of the more standard ones. Okay. Well, we need more aluminum. Build in Serbia. Don't know that we can build in, oh, Siberia, as you mean, not Serbia, Siberia. Yeah. German. Add infrastructure. That is looking very, very good. Chemical warfare. You know, I found out something recently, and I don't know that I've ever heard of it. I just see chemical warfare made me think of it. Why, especially even more so in, well, fairly much in my generation, but fairly much more so in my dad's generation. You know, my dad's generation, the beatniks, the hippies wore beards, but nobody else did. The reason beards went out of fashion, because a lot of militaries around the world, including in Europe, soldiers could have beards, neatly trimmed beards for, you know, your average soldier, and maybe bigger, longer beards for generals and other, you know, higher commanding things. And it was the Germans with the gas masks in World War I that made all the soldiers have to shave their faces to be able to have gas masks on, that got rid of, for everything, got the generation away from having any beards. I thought that was interesting. Just scrap all ships. I don't know. Why would I do that? Infrastructure effort. Sorry if I'm not moving this fast, but I'm not used to looking at this. Dreadnought effort. No, I'm not going to do that. But I don't know why I would scrap all ships. I'm thinking of moving them out of the Baltic, but I think invest in the West is right now the best one. We will get that. Not sure where Kielce is. Where is that? I can't really change that now, but I guess we could reload. But because that was one of them, and Kharkov was the other. Okay. Or keep a Fuhrer mustache, yeah. But that's sort of the kind of things, and so we're dealing with. Okay. Who could we get aluminium from? Aluminum. Well, I guess the United States. And back to here. So we got more political power coming from him. Let's do, because we're looking at fairly quickly. Don't know these guys. Don't see any of my favorites here. But I'm used to the more White Russian era. It's in Poland today. Uh-oh, that far west? Oh, well. No, that's... Well, we may lose that. That was sort of my worry about that. Well, we're going to move a bunch of our army forward. Okay, division speed, division recovery rate, division attack, division organization. I like division organization. Okay. And entrenchment speed looks good. Was White Army General who later fought alongside the Wehrmacht. Okay. He was a Cossack commander. Yeah. The high command at this point, don't know how much would be later still around. Here's who you're talking about, right? Yeah. Krasnov commando, so he'd be a young man at this time. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm not going to spend more political capital on that right now. Ban fascism, communism, no. Okay. Okay, well, let's get this going here. Okay, welcome to the Great War. There, you are a veteran player of Hearts of Iron Saga, and you want to experience a new challenge. We've added new difficulties. Game, pick one of 4 options. See how good you are. Manpower plus. Not today. We're going to go to not today. I may know this game fairly well, but I do not know. The Russian Great War that well. Not going to worry so much about my Romanian border. Oh, no. Train. Get on trains. Let's go by skill. There we go. Let's be smart about this. Let's use the river as a defensive boundary. Thorough planning of defensive doctrine. Well, how much equipment? I'm sure not enough. I was sort of scared to look at it. We need 500 more artillery pieces, 30,000 more infantry equipment, and yeah, those are the big ones, of course. Fortunately, this is not black ice, in which I have to build lots and lots of stuff. Oh, we have more now available. Okay. Yeah, let's do, and 2 more of that. Now we can build more factories. Okay. Now, where is my navy? Down here. Okay, do we have... Why can't that operate in the Black Sea out here? What is... Oh, I guess the submarines are just so short-ranged? I don't get that. Okay, these guys, yeah. Hold it. Pause. Isn't this early? I thought it was. Oh, that's right. He dies, and it takes till September till we go to war. How much do you have? No, I'm not. No, I'm not wasting any equipment on training. I'm not wasting any damn equipment on training. Franz Josef is dead. Okay. Admiral Kolchak. Now him I know of. He fights out here against the whites. Okay, he's going to be put in charge of this. Let's Huh? I can't get there from here? Can I get to here? Oh no, let's deselect that. That's probably it. Okay. Now can the fleet get to here? No. Can the fleet come down to here? Oh, wow. Okay. I did not know I couldn't move my fleets out of here. How interesting. Okay. Well, you learned something. Okay, let's slow this down a little bit. We're going to continue shifting some forces. West here. No point in having the forces way in the back. So we can push into East Prussia. Yeah, I did do that. I did set their port. Oh, no, we're wrong. These guys. See, it just says Cola up here, but it still won't let me send them there, even though they're based out of there. So we'll base them back here to St. Petersburg. So I don't know that. I don't know why that is doing what it's doing. Okay, we've invested in the West. Defy Germany. I don't know that we want to do that. Okay, we need to do this then. New general. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, tricksters. Another trickster's fine. Too many, so let's detach these guys. Yeah. What's... Oh, I don't want to disband them. I want to... Oh, unassigned. There we go. Yeah. And one of you will unassign. Okay, it's because of this can't travel through the straits, and I get that for the Bosphorus and whatnot through here, but can't get out through here in time of peace? Really? I'm guessing you're right that that's what it is, but that seems a bit weird. Okay, pause. Transmission from Austria. The Austro-Hungarians declared war on Serbia. Okay. This is sort of the start. Again, I think this is early, because I thought we had until September. The Austrians have declared war on Serbia. Perfect. The Russian bear shall have great feast of the Slavic lands in Austria and tear our old rival to shreds. Of course, a protracted war will likely lead to outright revolution, especially if the unpatriotic commoner Lenin is sent back here. But what are the chances of that? Foreshadowing much? Okay. Yes. Support our ally Serbia. We're slowing this down even more. War has broken out between Austria-Hungary and our ally Serbia. The Entente is backing Serbia while Germany backs Austria. While this war could be huge, the result in the end of our territory, we are not obliged to help Serbia as they have helped us so often before. Of course we are. Declare war. Okay, so we are at war now with Germany, I do believe. Let me make sure of that fact. Yes, we are at war with them. Very good. New general. They also need to be under him as well. New general. Man, we gotta assign these guys quickly here. You guys come up. You guys move into here. You guys just attack to hold there. You join that attack. And you guys push into there. These guys are going to sort of hold here in Poland while, and we never really got these well organized up. So we're going to push into there. Romania should be joining us. Yeah, not well organized, I know. Come up here quickly. Get on trains, come up. Yes, I noticed we do have some reserve units there. Well, we're starting the war. Well, we have one. Belgium joined the Entente. We have a fleet down here. So we have that. Okay, these guys though. Let's select these guys. And we're going to... Is there any convoy raiding to do out here? Probably not, but let's patrol, search and destroy. Powder keg. Serbia refuses Austria's demands. Okay, we have aircraft. We actually have aircraft. Where are they? No, they're here. Okay, well, yep, close support. Go for it. Didn't know that we had any aircraft. Was not an expected thing, and they didn't really have aircraft this early. Luxembourg. Oh, we're safe now. Luxembourg joined us. My game just crashed, people. Well, this is going to be the end of the episode. I don't know if it's going to be the end of the stream. This has not been my day for good streaming. So, thank you for watching. We very well may be back to more Great War Russia, but that was unexpected.